You're listening to The Monetized Mom, the podcast that teaches moms of faith how to monetize their expertise online to create influence, impact, income, and more importantly, financial independence. I'm your host, Flo Alexander. Let's chat. Hey mama, if you are tuned into this episode, you're probably looking to grow your coaching business. Well, you are in luck. I just released a new training on how to launch a high-ticket program that clients will pay thousands for, even if you don't have your program created. Now, you can access it now at themonetizedmom.com/training. That's themonetizedmom.com/training. Again, that's themonetizedmom.com/training. Now let's get on with the show. If you are ready to increase your close rates and enroll more clients in your coaching program, then go ahead and grab your pen and paper because that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be sharing exactly how you can increase your close rate by as much as 30% or more by doing 5 simple things. So stay locked in if you want these gems. So let's go ahead and hop in. So there are 3 reasons that you may not be enrolling as many clients as you would like to in your coaching program. So the first reason is you just simply don't have enough people who are aware of your program. So in this case, you would have a lead acquisition problem, right? So you're just not getting enough people, not enough people know about you, not enough people know about your program. And so this is a lead acquisition problem. And this is something that can easily be solved with ads. So if you have the extra income or if you have the capacity to do so, then all you would need to do is simply run ads, assuming that, other things are correct, right? You could do collaborations to help with this, to get more eyeballs on your content and on your business. And you could simply just create more content. So you could go live more often. You could post more content. Like you can do a lot of things to help solve the issue of lead acquisition. All right. So that's one of the reasons why you may not be enrolling as many clients as you want, because you just don't have enough people who are aware of your actual program. The second reason is that you don't have the right people who are aware of your program. So you may have people who know about it, but it may not be the right people. So then this is a lead quality issue. And so this is where you are maybe going live, posting content, inviting people to book a call with you, and you're not getting a response. You're not getting much engagement. So this usually stems from a messaging issue. Or if you are running ads, which has happened to me once before, you're running ads and you're getting the leads, but then you're not getting people booking calls. You're not getting people enrolling, or if they are booking calls, they're not, the right people. They're not a right fit. So again, this is a lead quality issue. And so to solve this problem, this is more so focused on improving your messaging, right? It can easily be solved by refining your messaging. And one of the most important things that I talk about all the time is making sure that your messaging is on point. And when it comes to your program, actually having a program promise that you can speak to, right? What is the specific problem that you're solving? Who are the specific people that you're solving that problem for? That's how you can easily fix issues with your messaging. And I said that, this was an issue with me before where I was running ads, but it was going to the wrong people because I had a messaging issue. So it may be the case where you actually have people who have eyeballs on your content, who have eyeballs and know about your program. Well, I would hope that, most people have eyeballs, but is a case where you don't necessarily need more eyeballs. You just need the right eyeballs on your content and on your program. Okay. And so if that is an issue where you're like, well, I got a lot of people, but they're just not doing anything, then it's probably a messaging issue. You're not clear on your program promise, meaning the problem that you solve and who you solve it for. And so therefore you're not getting quality leads, the right people. And the last reason that you may not be enrolling as many people into your coaching program as you would like to is because you don't have a strategy for your enrollment calls, okay? You may not have a strategy for your enrollment calls, so you find yourself wasting hours on the phone on enrollment calls with no results. And this is a lot of people's issues, right? So if 1 isn't a problem, it's 2. If 2 isn't the problem, then 3 is likely the problem why you're not enrolling as many people into your coaching program as you would like. So we're going to talk about number 3, and I'm going to share 5 things that you can do to have an effective enrollment call and increase your close rate so that you can get more people in your coaching program. Okay. So um, I'll just give you full transparency, my own story. When I first started doing enrollment calls for my coaching program, I had a very, very low close rate. I had less than 10%. And I did the numbers just for this broadcast, right? So it was like less than 10%. So 1 in every 10 people that I spoke to actually enroll in the program. So yeah, less than 10% of people enroll, right? So that's very, very low. That's not good. That means I would literally have to do tons and tons of calls in order to get one person to actually enroll. Right. So, and that's obviously not sustainable. 10% or less conversion rate is not sustainable unless you have this huge, huge offer, multiple 5 figures, maybe even 6-figure, 7-figure offer where, one enrollment can literally set you for the whole year. Right. So that wasn't the case for me. Right. So I had to figure out, how do I increase my conversion rate? So I already had a good grip on lead acquisition. So I talked about one of the first issues that you'll have to address if you're not enrolling as many people as you want to is a lead acquisition issue. So lead acquisition was not the problem for me. I was getting consistent leads on a daily basis, right? So then I had to go to number 2. Was it a lead quality problem? And in my case, yes, part of it was a lead quality problem. So I really needed to refine my messaging. So I worked really hard to refine my messaging, and that played a huge part in helping get more qualified people on the call and getting that enrollment rate more on an upward trajectory. But beyond that, I had to take some additional steps to actually close the client, right? So the next thing that I had to do after I improved my messaging was actually I had to have a strategy for the enrollment call. So there are 5 things that I did that I would encourage you to do if you find yourself at a place where you're not enrolling in as many clients as you want to, if you're not closing at a rate that you want to. There are 5 things I want to share with you that I put into place that helped me increase my enrollment rate to at this point is above 40%. 1 month I had 80% close rate. So if those are the type of numbers that you're looking for, you want to increase that close rate so that you can enroll more people, then I want to share some 5 things that you do. So again, I went from less than 10% close rate, and 10% is probably being generous. So less than 10% close rate to now about anywhere between 40 and 50%. And then there was actually a month where I had 80% close rate. So here are 5 things that I started doing that you should do if you want to increase your close rate and enroll more people into your program. So first things first, you actually want to start qualifying your leads before the call. If you want to have a successful call, you need to actually qualify your leads before the call. Now, I was doing this to an extent before, but I got even more serious and more in depth about it when I started seeing the close to 50%, 80% close rate. So what did I do differently? I required an application in order for people to be able to even get on a call with me. If you are a coach and you are especially selling a high ticket coaching program, you need to do your due diligence in qualifying your leads. And the way that you can do that is through an application. There is no point in jumping on a call with people who are not a fit for your program, who you cannot help, who do not meet the qualifications for someone that you can help. Is no point in even jumping on the call with them. And when you are on calls with people who are not qualified, you're going to automatically lower your close rate because you're not going to be able to enroll them because they are not your ideal client. They're not where they need to be. And there's just a mix match of what their needs are and what you can provide. So the first thing that you need to do is actually qualify your leads before the call. And I recommend that you have an application process so that you aren't wasting your time with people who aren't a fit for your program or for your service. All right. So in order for you to actually have an effective application, you need to know who your ideal client is. What are the things that they need to have? Where do they need to be in their journey in order for them to be qualified as a client? So you need to understand that ideal client so that you know what questions you need to ask in order to know whether or not they meet that criteria. All right. So what is your ideal client? Where are they in the process? What are certain things that they need to have? I love using the example of being a fitness coach. It's probably one of the easiest examples that you can use, right? If you are a fitness coach and you have a program, you will probably need to know, one of the things that will qualify if someone can work with you is, do they have equipment at home? Do they have access to equipment? How much do they currently weigh? What is their lifestyle? Like, you need to understand who your ideal client is so that you can create those qualifying questions to determine whether or not they're going to be able to get on the call with you. Okay. So that's the first thing that you need to do. So vet your leads before the call. Qualify your leads before the call. And here's the thing, newsflash, if they don't meet the qualifications, cancel the call. That is one thing. I was actually talking to one of my coaching clients today, my one-on-one coaching clients today. And that's one thing we were talking about. I was like, you have the power to say no. You can say no to people. You don't have to accept every phone call that comes through. And so a part of that is just knowing who your ideal client is so that when someone does not meet that criteria, you can say no upfront and you're not wasting your time. Okay. So that's the first thing. The first thing is implementing an application process in for your program or for your services so that you can vet people before they actually get on the call and you're not wasting your time and also lowering your close rate. Okay. The one thing I will add in addition to the application, there are specific questions that I ask on the application that allow me to vet people even further. So everyone can give a good answer, right? But I also, for me, it's not going to be for everyone, but I require that people put their social media information or website. And I actually go to their social media and website and I vet them to see, one, is this the type of person that I actually want to work with? Two, is it a personality fit? And more importantly, are they going to be a good representation of my business? I don't want people who are saying that they are my clients and they are not a good representation of me. So it's not just the application to see whether, hey, do you check the box for, can I solve your problem? Because most times we can solve people's problem, we can help them. But the question is, do we want to help them? And for me, do I want this person to be a representation of my business? If the answer is no, then I'm automatically going to not approve the application. So it's not just about, do they meet the requirements, but are they a fit for the community that you're cultivating and that you're building? All right. So again, I have an application. I recommend that you have an application, but beyond the application, vet them out. Are they a best fit for your program? Are they a best fit for your business? Or excuse me, are they going to be a good representation of you? When they leave a review of your services, would you want your name attached to that person? That's a legitimate question that you need to ask. Okay. So that's the first thing. First things first is you actually need to qualify your leads before the call because you don't want to be wasting your time with people who are not a fit. The second way that you can increase your close rate and enroll more clients into your program is to actually spend time building like, know, and trust. And I said I was going, it's 5 things. Building like, know, and trust. All right. And this also happens before the call. So you'll notice that a lot of stuff I'm talking about happens before you even get on a phone call with someone, right? So building like, know, and trust. People are more likely to buy from someone they like, and more importantly, that they trust. Someone cannot like you and buy from you if you have a good product, but they have to trust you. No one is going to willingly give their money away to someone that they don't trust, right? I hope not. I believe that universally, no one's going to give their money away to someone that they don't trust. So it's your job to build that like, know, and trust factor before they get on the call. So you need to be focusing on how do you build rapid rapport with those people who've made it through the vetting process. So you should be doing this through your content. You should be doing this through your marketing efforts. And you should have some kind of sequence, some follow-up sequence between the time that someone actually books a call with you to the time y'all get on the phone. So there should be some rapid rapport building that happens before the call. Obviously, if they book the call with you, then they have some like and know and maybe trust with you in order for them to do it. But if you want to make this a successful call, between the time that they actually submit an application and you approve that application for a call, there needs to be some relationship building, some rapid rapport building that happens in the in-between time. All right. So again, you should already be doing this with your content and with your marketing. A lot of this stuff I've already talked about on previous live streams or podcast episodes. If you're listening to this, how you build relationships with people and actually are social as a business owner. But these are things that need to be happening before the call, but especially between the time period that someone actually books a call with you and the time that you actually have the call with them. You should be building rapid rapport with them within that time period, and that helps set the stage for the actual conversation that you're going to have that's going to determine whether or not they decide to proceed with your services or your program or not. Okay, so first things first, qualify your leads before the call. The second thing that you need to do is build that like, know, and trust, and you're doing that through your content, but you also want to have a follow-up sequence in between the time that they book the call and the time that you actually talk to them. Okay, and so that's something that I teach my clients within my group coaching program is what do we do in the in-between to make sure that these people come into the call and pretty much are ready to hand you their card so that they can enroll in the program. All right, so the third thing that you want to do if you want to increase your close rates and enroll more clients into your program is to articulate the value to your leads or to your prospect, your potential client. You need to articulate the value to them. Here's the thing. There can be one product, but everyone's going to buy it for a different reason. Everyone can buy it for a different reason. For example, I have this jar of Vaseline at my desk. This is one product that people use for many different reasons, right? So I like to use this as chapstick. Someone else might use it for lotion or something. Someone else might use it for their baby. This one product it has different meanings to different people, right? You have to think about that when you are talking to potential clients. Everyone has a different reason why they want your service or they want to enroll in your program. Everyone has a different reason, right? For my program, a lot of moms want to come in my program because they're trying to build their business so that they can exit their careers. That's one reason. Another reason may be a mom just wants to have a profitable side hustle. Everyone has a different reason for why they are seeking a solution to their problem. It is your job as the service provider, as the coach, to identify what those reasons are within that conversation and be able to speak to that reason. That is how you show the value of your program or your service in their own words. That's how you show the value of it to them, right? It's not about how many modules. It's not about how many calls. It's not about how many videos. It's not about any of that stuff. They are looking to solve a problem because of a specific reason. And it's your job on that call to identify what that reason is and be able to specify what in your program addresses that issue or that reason that they're investing. So if, for example, Vaseline was advertising, for me, they would advertise and say, hey, this is a great, quick, easy, cheap chapstick that you can use on the go. For someone else, it may be, hey, this is something that you can use to retain moisture in your skin. You can use this on your baby, which I probably would not recommend. But they could market this and show the value in many different ways. Same thing for this bottle of water. I drink it because I'm thirsty. Some people may drink it because I don't know, they're trying to be healthy, therefore they're trying to reach some kind of target, right? So there are different ways that you express value for the same product. When you are on these enrollment calls, you have to extract what is it that they are valuing most. What do they need solved? Why do they need to solve it? And you need to speak to that thing. You need to articulate the value of your program and how it addresses their need. Know why the person on the other end of the phone wants their problem solved and highlight aspects of your program that addresses that they value most. Okay. So you want to understand and articulate the value to them, but you have to know what is the value to them, and you extract that from the conversation, and then you articulate how your program addresses that need and provides that value. Okay. So this is now we're on the phone. So we've already qualified them before the call. We built that like, know, and trust, the rapid rapport. Then we are now talking about articulating your value to them, articulating the value of your program or service to them by way of understanding what do they value most. And they're going to tell you that. They're going to talk about it. Why do they want their problem solved? What happens if they get their problem solved? They're articulating why this is important to them. And you need to then be able to pinpoint aspects of your program or service and highlight aspects of your program or service that is of value to them. Okay. All right. So that was number 3. Number 4, you need to have a sales script. And I don't mean something that you read verbatim, but there are 5 phases to an enrollment call. And you need to understand what those phases are. And you need to understand what you need to say and what you need to do during each of those phases of that conversation. So if you are winging it, getting on a call and just, winging it and having a blind conversation, is no wonder why your enrollments are low, right? You need to have a strategy and a methodical way of walking someone through an enrollment call and having the conversation. And more importantly, you actually need to be in control of the conversation as well. And you need to confidently show up. But more importantly, there are 5 phases of an enrollment call that you need to understand, and you need to have a sales script, right? You need to have an enrollment call script that you're able to follow, not necessarily read verbatim, but follow so that you can walk them through the process of actually closing, right? So the worst thing that you can do is come on a call unprepared. And I feel like a lot of people do that. I know when I first started out, I was completely unprepared. I had an idea of what I needed to talk about. I had an idea of what I thought an enrollment call, how it should go, but I had no clue that there were 5 phases of an enrollment call that you need to walk someone through to effectively close them. So you need to have a sales script that goes through those 5 things. All right. So first things, you need to know, again, what questions you need to be asking. I said that you need to be able to articulate the value of your program or your service to them. And the only way that you know what they value is by asking them. So you need to know, what are the right questions that I need to ask them? When do I need to ask them? And how do I walk them through these 5 phases? Okay. So the first phase, I already talked about this. You're going to be building rapport before the call and during the call. So building that rapport. Then you're going to go through a discovery phase where you're identifying, what do they value most, and how do I articulate or highlight my program in such a way that they can see the value to them, right? Then you offer a solution. Then you handle your objections, and then you actually close them. These are 5 phases that you have to walk them through if you want to have an effective enrollment call where you're going to have a higher close rate. All right. So again, these are things that I am doing actively where I'm getting close to 50% close rate. And like I said, 1 month, even an 80% close rate. All right. So here's the other thing. In addition to having that sales script and understanding those 5 phases of the enrollment process, you have to be prepared to handle objections. And I did a post on this not too long ago talking about objections, some of the most common objections that you might see, but you have to have a plan to actually handle those objections. And here's the thing, you don't want to look at objections as bad things. If they're a fit, these objections, meaning not saying yes or no, but asking questions or expressing their concern about something, these objections, if they are fit, is usually about them getting more information to make the right decision for themselves, right? So be prepared to answer questions that they might have. You know your program better than they know it, so you need to be able to effectively answer any question that they might have. If the answer is not explicitly yes, that they want to enroll and they want to take advantage of your services, right? So you need to be prepared to handle objections. And I feel like most people are not prepared to handle objections. We blindly go in thinking that they're going to say yes. And that's not always the case, right? Sometimes they're going to say no, but not say no directly, because for some reason adults don't know how to just say no. No, this is not for me, or no, I can't afford it. But you need to be able to effectively handle those objections and questions that they have, such that it's not a lost call, right? And the other thing is, I think you have to have a frame of mind that sometimes it's not just about having one call and closing people, which leads me to the next thing is, you need to have a follow-up process. Every sales call or enrollment call is not just one call and they enroll. Sometimes people legitimately want to follow up. Sometimes some people legitimately need time to get the money together. There's people are people. So there are various reasons why someone would not close immediately on the first call, but you need to have a follow-up process when the call ends. The call does not end when the call ends, right? You need to have a follow-up process and a plan to enroll them, even if they don't enroll right then. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They think, if I get a no, then that's just no. It could be a not right now, and you need to have a plan for how you're going to follow up, how are you going to keep these people engaged, how are you going to stay top of mind to them such that when they are ready to buy, you're top of mind and they're going to go ahead and make that purchase and make that decision with you. Here's the thing, every buyer is not the same. There are some people who buy immediately, right? There are some people who are impulse buyers. They may be emotional buyers. There are people who make very quick decisions and they buy very fast. There are other people who literally have to analyze the thing. My husband is one of those people. He is a person that will take time, right? And he will analyze and he will look for alternatives. He will look at the pros and cons. And there are people like that. And you have to respect them that they're going to need time. I'm one of those analytical people. I'm not as slow, but I'm one of those analytical people where it has to make logical sense to me. I'm not going to be making an emotional decision. It needs to make logical sense. So you have to realize that there are different types of buyers. There are going to be people who are going to buy immediately. There are going to be people who need time. You need to have a plan for both of those types of buyers. And then there's just going to be people who don't buy it, right? But you need to have a plan in place for those different type of buyers. You need to be able to address them differently. You need to have a follow-up plan, but you also need to be prepared for the person who's ready to buy now, but you have to be able to effectively articulate the value of what they are purchasing so that they can be secure in their decision that they're making, okay? So if you want to increase your close rate, and enroll more people in your coaching program or in your services, first things first, you need to qualify the leads before the call. First things first, you need to make sure you're actually on the phone with the right people, because if you aren't, it won't matter. If you're on the phone with the wrong people, then there's no hope for increasing your close rate, right? So you need to make sure you're qualifying your leads before the call. You need to make sure you're building like, know, and trust. The time between that they book the call and the time that you actually get on the phone is very critical. You need to be building rapid rapport during that time. So that gives you an advantage when you get on the call. You need to articulate the value of your program and your offer to them. Everyone buys something for a different reason. You need to be able to identify what the reason is that they want their problem solved, and you need to highlight aspects of your program or service that speaks to that, right? And you need to articulate that value to them. You need to have a sales script. You need to know how to get through the 5 phases of an enrollment call. You need to know what questions to ask, when to ask them, what to say, and what to do next at all times within your enrollment call process, so that it's not just a call where you're unprepared and you're fumbling through, and next thing you know, you're off a call and you haven't made a sale, okay? And then lastly, you need to also have a plan to follow up. Everyone's not going to buy the first time that you talk to them. Everyone's not going to buy the first time that you talk to them. So what is your plan to actually follow up with them and remain top of mind so that when they are ready to buy, they know that you are there and ready to help them, all right? So that's what you can do if you want to increase your close rate and enroll more clients into your program. As always, I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode.